Hello, Cancer, and welcome to your April 2025 tarot card reading. Thank you all so much for being here. Let's go ahead and get started here with an oracle card. What is it that Cancer needs to know for April 2025? Let's see what comes through here. Okay, we have the energy is gaining momentum, which means that when it comes to your goals, things are going to start speeding up quite substantially for you. And probably there's going to be a lot going on, right? There's going to be a lot of tasks that need to be completed. There's going to be a lot required from you. And it kind of feels maybe like it's sort of taking on a life of its own, which I think is a good thing. But I do think with this time of year, management is going to be important, right? Whether it's time management or resource management or or anything like that. I think we have to be intelligent with how we proceed, but understand that we are going to have to push a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and see what comes through with the animal spirit deck. What is it that Cancer needs to know here with the animal spirit? Now is a lucky time. Okay, but this is I like this card. I think we all like luck. Luck is a good thing. But there's different kinds of luck, right? There's luck that kind of comes out of nowhere, and then there's luck that you have earned. And I actually think, Cancer, you are tapping into the luck that you have earned. So while, yes, opportunities will likely be showing up for you, and yes, things will likely go your way, it's not as though it's all that much of a surprise, right? Because this is what the plan probably was this whole time. You probably had the plan, you probably had the intention all along. So when things start working out, and clearly they're starting to work out quickly with the energy it's gaining momentum, you're just, I don't know, in a state of like, well, of course, obviously it's going to work out that way. Obviously it's going to move in this direction, but also you're still going to have to keep showing up, right? This is not a hands off the wheel situation. You very much have to put your hands on the wheel and direct the ship, okay, in the direction that you need it to go. And you need to kind of maintain some degree of control over things as well. That's why management is going to be very important. All right, so starting with the tarot, we have the Queen of Coins, which is, funny enough, a Capricorn energy. There's a Capricorn energy, and that is, of course, ruled by Saturn. So when I'm talking about management and structure, that's even that much more relevant. Okay, we have the Cancer card of Cancer. Chariot, I mean. The Chariot, the card of Cancer, and the Ace of Wands. Okay. So, Queen of Wands, now, I'm sorry, Queen of Coins, I mean, she does have a methodology, and I do think sticking to a strategy, now I'm going to say she's not the fastest, so I think she kind of contradicts this card a little bit, but she's also not the slowest either. Okay, she's just, I mean, she pushes and she works hard and she gets her hands in the dirt. She's not afraid to get her hands dirty. But she also lets things happen in their own time, okay? So while there will likely be, right, luck, right, lucky things, good things, opportunities that come in for you, I also know that you're not trying to force them to come in prematurely, okay? Which I think is, you're in the kind of this perfect sweet spot, and there may be kind of some other external forces kind of forcing you to be like that, right? Because if you had full absolute control, then I guarantee you'd be like, let's go, but I don't think you do. I think there are other people, there are, other markets, there are other whatevers that are kind of making you say, okay, well, when it's meant to happen, it will happen. And I'm just going to keep consistently grinding away, and it does feel a little bit like a grind or a hustle, but not in like the toxic way. I think there is seriously a toxic hustle culture out there. I don't think that's really what this is. Okay, this is a nice, manageable, but also strongly effective approach that you have going on here. There is something about resources coming in. I'm not really sure. We don't have a ton in like the second house. Maybe this is eighth house Pluto. I'm not sure. But there is something about resources. So whether you are generating your own resources or working with other people's resources and leveraging that, either way, there does seem to be, taking a message of taking those resources and building and growing something very much on top of those with that Chariot card. There's an ascension, a transcendence, a growth. But even here, there's a lot of control as well. Really self-control. Okay, I'm gonna hit home on this point. This is not the sexiest topic. All right. However, this is where success lies for you throughout the month of April. It is in your ability to manage yourself. It is in your ability to place limitations on yourself, or to set parameters, or to, to accomplish certain things. And I think the more goal oriented you are, and the more driven you are to achieve those goals, the more successful you will be. I mean, obviously, that's like obviously no brainer. But that is what is going to put you in the right state of mind, the right emotional state, so that the Ace of Wands can easily come in. I think this is one of your first little moments of good luck here. I don't know if it's the first and only, or if it's just the first one and there's going to be multiple. I'm not sure. We'll see what the rest of the cards have to say. But as it stands, this is going to probably come within the first 1 to 2 weeks of April. Okay, so it's not like it's way far out, but the more rigid and more regimented you can be, the more likely this is to come in, because the universe says, okay, well, you're in a position now where you have that structure and you have that consistency that you can handle this. I don't think the universe is going to bring in any opportunities that you cannot handle right now, because for the sake of the gaining momentum, you don't want to be, losing control. You don't want that wheel to like start getting turbulent and start breaking apart, right? You want to actually smooth ride, moving forward, moving upward, whatever, and you want it to be effective. You want to actually produce results from all of this. So when the Ace of Wands comes in, know that you are ready. Now, it may feel kind of like a lot, but also it's like, yeah, it may be a lot, and if I take it on my plate, yes, it is kind of a big deal, and yes, maybe it is kind of a big leap of faith, and yeah, maybe it is just a potential, so I don't quite know exactly how this is going to go, but I know I can handle it. So you may have concerns, but it's not so many concerns or bad enough concerns that you don't take it. I think you still take the Ace of Wands, and I think you take it enthusiastically as well, because you understand what that means. You understand that there's going to be growth on the other side of that Ace of Wands. So let's see what else comes through here for Cancer in the second row. What else does Cancer need to know for April? Let's see. I kind of like the Tower, actually. I like the Tower because it signifies a strong pivot. And I often say it's like the Wheel of Fortune in disguise, okay? The Tower usually happens when something is obsolete, okay? The Tower usually happens when something no longer serves, does not align, and it's something that we've been keeping intact because maybe we're afraid of the loss or the sacrifice or whatever. I really don't think you have a lot of control, or any say-so rather, in terms of whether that tower stays intact or not. I think it is just coming crashing down. That's simply what's going to happen. And it's going to happen the moment you take that Ace of Wands. The moment you take that step. boom, something else. It's like something good is going on, but then something quote unquote bad is going to happen. Now, I don't want to project something bad as like, you know, so, some massive majorly life changing thing. I don't think it's going to be that big. I just think it's going to be like, oh, well, that wasn't my intention for that thing to fall apart. All I wanted was to incorporate that. But the universe says that vibrationally, the Ace of Wands and this other thing, those things don't match vibrationally. And because there is so much momentum toward the Ace of Wands, toward the opportunities, toward the growth, this other thing that is not growing clashes. Okay, so that's all it is. So this may be unwanted. It might be something that you're like, oh man, I really didn't want that to happen. That wasn't my intention. That was not what I had in mind at all. Okay, and with the Five of Swords, there might be some stuff that really comes up in regards to that. Okay, maybe there's regrets. Maybe there are some very difficult relationships that you have to really, contend with. Maybe there's an argument that continually resurfaces, or maybe there's insecurities and doubts that you kind of have to battle internally. Maybe there are external people, whatever the case may be. But the Five of Swords, it's not a pretty card. And I think it goes with the Tower in that, like, wow, this was not wanted. And all of your good intentions, it may seem like, well, is that just going right out the window? Am I, like, what was all that for if this was going to happen? So the real protocol here is to not try to mold or force or try to do anything about this, and to not try to change anybody's mind or try to appease anybody or try to work it out. Okay, at least not yet, maybe in time, but when it immediately happens, I think we need to just kind of let it settle a little bit, because that's the thing. When the Tower happens, there's usually this big dust cloud that kind of surfaces. It's like poof, and you need time for the dust to settle in order to see things clearly, and that may take like a couple of weeks for that to happen, or a week or so, or more than that. This is certainly not something to rush in right away and try to do everything you can to keep that Tower intact. It's more about taking a step back and letting it happen, letting it fall, letting the pieces fall where they may, letting people react however they need to react, including yourself. But again, I don't see the fight going into this, okay? But I am kind of seeing you being like, what was the point of this if this was going to happen? And there might be a little bit of it kind of feels like you're taken aback a little bit, and maybe it kind of is like, oh, I don't like this feeling. It's really uncomfortable. It's really scary. I don't feel as sure as I was before, even just a week prior. I don't feel as secure. I don't feel as confident, and it shakes you a little bit. That's a good thing. Okay, that is an indication that things are now about to speed up. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that quite yet. I'm just in looking at this card, energy is gaining momentum, but I don't know really what's going to come out here. So I may contradict myself. I don't mean to do that, but I do feel like there is a speeding up quality that goes on. Now, with the Two of Wands, there is an indication of the clarity. So once that dust does settle, there is this kind of revisualization of things, because now you have to kind of revisualize your world without this Tower, okay? And you have to think about how to reshape things, and what actions now need to be taken, and what relationships now need to be cultivated, and what steps now need to be taken. There's a lot of planning and strategy that goes on here. And I'll tell you what, that Two of Wands is a no funny business type of card. All right, this is not a time to be wasteful with your time and energy and attention. It's not a time for consumption. Okay, it is a time for focus, dedication, commitment, visualization, meditation, and intentional action. All right, so let's see what the third row has to say. Three of Wands. see, I had a feeling it's just a small little blip. And this may have a little bit to do with Venus stationing direct. And what happens is on April 12th, okay, Venus stations directly on Saturn in Pisces. So it's a very powerful Venus transition that we have going on. And then a few days after that, on the 18th, we have Mars coming into Leo. And then the day after that, on the 19th, we have the Sun coming into Taurus. So the Mars coming into Leo, I think, is around the time of this transition here. And Taurus season, right? Taurus season, Mars coming into Leo is between here and here. This really does seem to align with the Venus retrograde, Venus stationing direct, excuse me. So I think this is Saturn's influence here. Temporary, because keep in mind, look at where this is going. Okay, this is going from a period of thought and strategy and visualization to now being in a highly receptive state. Because that's what happens when the tower happens, is now there's all this space, right? Because the tower was probably something that was taking up a lot in your schedule, taking a lot of your resources, taking a lot of your attention, whatever. It was taking up a lot. And so now it comes crumbling down, and now you have space. You have space in your house. You have space in your schedule. You have space in your heart and in your mind. You have space in your energy for all this new stuff, for this right here. Like, it's not an accident that this comes in and you take it and then immediately that happens. I mean, there's a reason. It's because the universe wants you to have that. You want you to have that. You want that opportunity, that passion, that excitement, that new adventure. But the old adventure is done. You have to call it quits. Okay? So now, Three of Wands, ships are coming in. And then we have these two cards here which signify ultimate joy, happiness, success, and wishes coming true. Right? Where there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to be really, really happy that the tower happened. No doubt in my mind that you're going to be really happy with the direction that things go by the end of April. And while the shakeup is a little dramatic and maybe a little abrupt, and it just kind of shakes it up a little bit, I think by the end of the month you will be so relieved that you do not have that heavy, burdensome, oppressive thing in your life anymore. And because that Five of Swords, it's an energy drain for sure. And when you don't have that energy drain, now all of a sudden you retain all of your energy and you can direct all of it, right? Sometimes we don't realize that we have such an energetic leakage going on. And this is our chance to kind of plug up the hole and start going in the direction that we need to go now, you know? It's going to make our trip, our voyage, a lot easier. It's like having flat tires, you know? It's like, how far can you really drive with flat tires? It's just, it's not beneficial. So it does end on an extremely high note. And I think that entering Taurus season, you will be generally in a very good place. Keeping in mind that in May, early May, which is May 4th, Pluto will station retrograde in the 8th house. So he'll be doing his first full retrograde in Aquarius, where he does not go back into Capricorn. And so we are kind of feeling that big evolutionary turnaround energy by the end of April, beginning of May. And May is really when the change of course really starts to happen, okay? So this is beautiful. Let's go ahead and pull out the clarifiers. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to open up all of these cards. We're going to pull out 3 cards per card, 27 total. And we are going to talk for another 25 to 30 minutes about these in the comprehensive reading. So if you want to join, you are more than welcome. The link will be in the description box and the comment thread down below. And of course, if you're a member, you can just log in and see the content there in the members area. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start clarifying the Queen of Coins. So what is it that you need to know about the Queen of Coins, Cancer? Beautiful King of Cups. Another Three of Wands, Three of Swords, ooh, beautiful King of Wands, I love that. Two of Cups, Nine of Coins. There is definitely something about resources, for sure. Money for many of you, Five of Coins. Another Five of Swords. Seven of Wands. Six of Coins. Temperance. See, I knew that Tower wasn't really that big a deal, because in your heart, you're going to fully understand why that had to happen. And we have the Five of Wands. Ace of Coins. Three of Cups. Hierophant, Ace of Cups, beautiful. Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands, we love those. The World, and Judgment. Oh, another Two of Wands, another Nine of Cups. Queen of Cups, there's the Cancer card. Death. Ten of Swords. Oh, those are really strong cards for the Ten of Cups. Wasn't really expecting those. With the Emperor, then we have the Empress, Ace of Swords, and the Lovers. Okay. All right, Cancer, this is where we're going to pick up in the comprehensive. So if you want to join me, you are more than welcome. Thank you so much. Have an amazing month, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.